Next. Just about to go. You can see them about to bear off and accelerate.
When that yellow flag goes down in the foreground, that's the starting signal. We can see the orange flag in the background. That's the starting line between the orange flag and there they go. Ryan Seaton, beautiful start at the windward mark. 4 boats that start on port, 4 boats that start on starboard. That's a pattern that we've seen more often today. That's the boats heading out to the right side of the course.
Led by the Spanish team here, James Peters having another fantastic start. We just got to watch him win the previous round, so he's sailing well.
So who won the start? It's really, 3 boats are really tight. The Croatian boat,
we can see them,
the French boat, and the
come into the
Polish
first
boat.
cross here in a second. We got James Peters tacking out first. We'll see how he does on the guys who started on starboard. It'll all come down in a second. The Irish just having to duck the one of the pin for the next round. That's unfortunate for them. They couldn't cross James Peters in the end. Neither could
James Peters. Easy to see. By the way, he doesn't have a number because he qualified as 8th into this final round.
There we go. Our youth world champion showing the big boys how it's done. He has won the first cross and he's in first place right now. Nicely in second are the Spanish. And then we've got the Croatians coming into the foreground.
Let's have a view of the virtual side camera. You can see how close the boats are, all aligned, closing in on that windward mark. James Peters with a slight advantage.
The Croatians here, they're the farthest to, the closest to our screens. They've just tacked at the lane boundary, and we'll see how they come out ahead. Carlos Paz in the Spanish boat, Carlos and Anton La Paz, they've just had to duck Alan Norgaard. So Alan Norgaard is shoulder trapezing right now, folks. He is doing it. He's just crossed James Peters. He's brought it out of the bag. Whoa. Let's stay on the Danish team here. He just jumped in. You see that one leap, and he's back in the boat, and now he'll come and do his tack.
So he did it.
He sure did. Those guys are on fire this week. We'll have to watch the tracker and get the data on how much faster he went with that, Marcus, after the race. So he has now used that technique to rocket into the lead, and it's really close. We've got one windsurfer who has decided to get out of the course here. Oh. And this is the approach to the windward mark. We can see all the coaches coming around. And James Peters, he's on starboard with the Danish here on port. They're getting the Danish.
Can Alan Norgaard? No, he has to duck. He has to go behind.
And there we go, round. As tight as you get, you'd expect that at this level of fleet, wouldn't you? James Peters round first, showing the old boys how it's done. Alan Norgaard coming around 3rd and 4th. As we see the Irish round coming up, and then there we go. James Peters still in the lead. He's being tightly chased by the Spanish there, Carlos. And then the Croatians here actually getting nicely down. They're approaching the lane boundary, so we'll see a jibe from them in a second. There they do. They come back. They'll be on starboard, but it looks like the other 2 teams are ahead. And the crosses, yeah, so even though they're on starboard, the 2 teams are going to cross. There's James Peters into the leeward marks. James Peters around in the lead and off to the left side of the course. So he's just going with the most expedient option there. I don't think that's a tactical choice. Carlos in the Spanish, he is just tacked on the lane boundary. He's on starboard now, so it'll be interesting to see if James Peters can cross the Spaniard, who will have the right of way, and then we'll see this fleet sort out. The Irish have climbed back nicely. We saw them have a tough start to the race, but they're back in now. And Alan Norgaard brought out the shoulder trapezing technique on that first beat. He used it to make a cross on everyone, but then he lost out in the last bit to the mark, and he's back down into 5th or 6th. Sticking with our leaders, Carlos La Paz, he's just crossed into the lead. You can see him there extending out in front of everyone. James Peters lost a fair bit heading out to the left side of the course, so he's now down
Carlos
into
Paz
3rd.
is a leader?
He is.
Okay, I was confused for a second because I thought the trackers got mixed up, but if Carlos Paz is the leader, then that's working fine. Let's have a closer look at that battle in the front.
Can we go to the virtual leaderboard here? So Carlos Lopez, we see him in first. Oh, can you just click on the summation there for me, Marcus, so we can get it
to the sum? Yep.
Yeah, there we go. Now we got the live ranking in order with Carlos using this race lead to go into first place. The Croatians, even though they're in third place in this race, are in second place overall. Let's get back on board with our leaders. There we go. Carlos Lopez, round the win mark in first. James Peters in second. The Irish look like they're going to try and roll the Croatians, but it looks like the Croatians going to make it. So they're third and fourth place. Tight rounding there. That's actually fairly windy, so these guys have quite a bit on. There's Alan Norgard.
Currently in fourth overall, by the way.
But down into sixth place in this race. So he's, even though he crossed up the first beat, and there we go, following, that's Anton Paz just leaving our screen to the left. He's our leader. And then now we can see him. This is the finish. It's a 2-lap race, so we can see
the Spanish boat in the lead. Spanish boat in the lead on the left side of the screen, followed by the English boat.
And James Peters jibing on top of the Spanish to try and get over top of them. They're not going to do it. The Spanish are going to hold on for this victory in the first race of the final. Good for them. James Peters making a good case for him to move up into the top 4, which is what he'll be looking to do. All the leaders following by.
That would be amazing if he would make that jump forward.
Irish through in fifth.
Into the grand final round.
Jan Richaud into sixth place, I believe.
He is fourth already, by the way. If you look at the score.
Let's get the virtual
Let's look at the scoreboard
one more time.
Yeah, 10 points. He's fifth. Really, really close. Ryan Seaton came ninth. He just was fourth for a second when I looked at it. And it is close in the front. The battle for the top 4 spots for the grand final are really, really close.
So that's right. We're looking for the top 4 to move on to the next round. It's going to be all on. As you can see, just about everyone's competitive at this stage, so these guys won't have a second to rest. Now we'll just go back to our live image here. See the guys taking a bit of a rest. No doubt some of the crews will be taking on some water after all those tacks and pulling up that spinnaker up and down twice. A lot on for them.
We used to do a lot of these short courses in our training, and we used to call them gut busters because it got you a little sick if you did too many laps of those.
Even for the skipper, Marcus.
Not like the crew.